Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of greenhouse tutorial. Today we will scatter point around our greenhouse. Here is where we left off. Let's go on and finish this part. So what we are going to do now is we are going to create a flow of this greenhouse and also scatter vegetation around it. So first of all, we'll create a flow. To create a flow, we need to get the dimension of our greenhouse. And to do that, we'll drag out of this and add attribute statistics. At attribute statistics node, we will change the value float to vector value because we want to sample the position attribute. So now, since we have the position attribute, we have all of these calculations done for us. So what you can do now, we can drag out of range and separate the individual axis. So we can use this axis to set the dimensions of a grid. Then we will add a primitive grid, and in x position we will add x dimension of the greenhouse and y into y. So what we have in return is a grid with the same dimension as our greenhouse. If you take a look here, you will see that they have exact same dimension. So, but it is not in the right position. So to move it to the right position, we can do it in different ways. We can either get the center of this greenhouse and scatter, move a point there and then add our grid as instance, or another method, which is one I will use, is we can convert our geometry into instance. We can have geometry to instance, and then we can use our instance. We can use the center position of our greenhouse to set the position of that instance. So to do that, we have to take our minimum position, then add. We take our position and then add a half of the range, which is we take. Okay, let me do it. You will be able to see that after. So if I add a vector, can use divide or multiply. In this case, let's use multiply and multiply our range by 0.5. So now we will have a half of our range if we add it to the minimum position. And now we want to affect the position x and y. We can keep our z on at 0 because it's already 0. So we have to first of all separate our x, y, z and then combine them again. X, what is into x and this into y, and then we can take our instance, add a set position. We add a set position and then we put it in the center of our greenhouse. If you look through this, you will see that it is in the center. If we remove this, add this here, and then look through this, you can see that it is perfectly aligned. So now we have successfully added our flow with the right dimensions, and we added it in the right position. So we can take our nodes that we used to do that and frame them, or add it into a group for just having a cleaner node tree. So we frame this and let's call them flow. You can call it whatever you like, and also you can customize it, give it a color or something. If you come here, you can be able to give it a color if you wanted to. Yeah, let's give it that color. So now what we will do is we are going to define the area around our greenhouse where we want to scatter our vegetation. So to do that, we will use our flow to determine, because I want to add our vegetation in like a specific area around our greenhouse. So that I can easily specify the distance, and I know that it will always be correct. So what we will do is we will first realize our instance, because we changed our grid to 2 instances. Then after that, we will after realizing our grid as instance, we will add extrude. We'll extrude our mesh here, but let's come back here. If we look at this, it is extruding face. We need to change it to edges. So now what you want to do is extrude the edges on side, not this in the middle. So if you look here, it is extruding everything. So to be able to select that, there is a way that you can be able to get these edges on the side. If you take a look here, you will see that every edge in the middle inside the mesh have 2 faces attached to it, while every edge on the outside have only one face. These edges have this one face, this one face, this one face, but these others have if you take a look here, this one in the middle have 2 edges. It have these faces and it has this face, but this edge right here, it have only this one, and here there is no face, so we have only one face. So what we will do then now is we will select edges with only one face, and to do that we will add edge neighbors, and take our face count. We'll exclude only edges which have faces less than 2. So we select only those, and if we take a look here, we have successfully extruded edges on the side. So now the reason why we extruded this edge is because we can use another extrude to extrude them along the anomals, because when you extrude them like this, the anomals will be facing in the direction of the face that they are attached to. If this edge we have anomal facing in positive x, this in negative y, and so on. So what we do then, we take we add another extrude node, another extrude here, and we extrude only top edges. And if you take a look, if we offset them like this, you can see that it is kind of happening, but not in the way we want. We want to be able to extrude them evenly, not in this uneven way. This one can also work if you don't want to be very specific, and this can work fine, but I want to be very precise in terms of the distance in which my vegetation will be scattered. So what I can do now is I can extrude this, but don't offset it. I leave it to the, where it is, and then I can set their position myself. So we can add another set position. We can add a set position here, set position node here, and then we can set the position of the top edges ourselves. So one thing that you need to know here, by default, when we add extrude node, it will extrude whatever we are extruding here, in this case is edges, in the direction of the anomal. To be able to see that, if I add, say, normal node, if I add a normal node and plug it into here, as you can see, nothing will change here. Nothing will change, because by default it extrude them in the normal direction. So so now what we want to do here is we need to manipulate our normal so that they can always be equal and for each point that facing in a certain direction. So to do that, we will first because the normal that the top edges will be extruded are the normals they have here before we extrude them. So what we want to do, we need to capture normal attribute here. This one may be a little bit complicated, but it's not very complicated either. So if you follow along, you will be able to understand. So I need you to pay attention here. So we add a capture attribute here, and we capture our normal. We capture our normal before we extrude it. So then we will take our normal, and we are going to remove the in-between. So we're going to have either 1 or 0. It will either be facing in a certain direction or not facing that direction. And each one facing in a certain direction, it will be extruded by the same amount. So to do that, we will add a ceiling node, vector ceiling, and also we add a vector flow here. So we have a flow and ceiling. Then we will, here, if we have values that are between 0 and 1, it will move it to the next higher value, which is 1. If it is here, if it is between 0 and 1, it will round it down to like nearby lower value. If it is, let's say, -1 and 1 and 0, it will set it to -1. So okay, then we add this. But if we do that, it will also still give us it will still give us some kind of weird positions. So what we need to do here is we need to cap those values so that they remain between 1 and 0 and -1 and 0. So to do that, for the ceiling values, we will add a map range. Okay, but we need to use the vector one map range here, and then it can still be here and add. Let's try this. I did this way. Also, then we can duplicate our map range here and add it here. But if we do it this way, because flow containing negative values, as you can see, most of values are negative, and those are the ones we want. So we will first of all change them to positive. If we add a multiply and make them positive by multiplying them by -1, we add the value here and make it -1. So before we add map range, we convert it to positive number. Then after that, we convert them back to negative numbers. We again multiply it by -1. So if we then let's move this forward. If we then take this and multiply it by a certain value, let's add a map multiply, and let's add another value here. Then we set the offset of our top faces. Okay, we can come here. Here we keep it to 0, and here if we use our now we need to choose only top. Yeah, if we use this value to set the position of our top faces, as you can see, it will offset them in the same amount in needed directions. So this is a huge time saver, and I didn't even show you all the challenges that comes when we use normal extrude. Here we can be, if we used any grid, we can still be able to extrude them even. But if we were using normal extrude and we have so many subdivision, it would even create much more problems. So this way we are able to avoid all of those problems. We can always specify which distance we want to get around the greenhouse, and yeah, the certain distance will be always fixed. So we can also can call this scatter area. Scatter area. Okay, so this is our our area that you can use to scatter. So the area that you want, actually here you don't see it that well. Add delete geometry node. You can add it inside here, and then you can move it back. So we will scatter everything which is not side. Note. We'll keep our top side here, which was that face on top. You can see this one. If we take a look from here, you will see that we only have that area around the greenhouse, and then this is the area that we can use to scatter. This was almost the hardest part. After this, everything is much easier. All we have to do is distribute points on these faces, and yeah, and then place instances on those points. So scattering, point scattering can be its own tutorial, and it will, like, if you wanted to cover everything about it, but I will be able to show you basic scattering techniques. First of all, we moved our grid a little bit up, so you can see that it is we can see it is a little bit above the floor. What you can do, the distance that we moved it is I think yeah, the one that we extruded the first time, which is this one. We can add the value here, which is 1, and then we can use that to set the position and offset it at Z. Let's see. Yeah, we can add a set position here to save our save time. So we can add set position here. They want to move it into this, and you can separate X, Y, Z. Oh, sorry. X, Y, Z, and we can offset it by, let's multiply this by -1. So that you can like move it back where it was before. Okay, so we can, as you can see, it will move back to its position. And if we take our flow here, to get a route here, and yeah, we can then match these three. We'll have our flow, our exterior grid, and our greenhouse. So and this is what we want. If we wanted to do something with our interior flow, we can do it. We can do it here. And if we want to do something with our exterior flow, we can do it here separately. So yeah, this is basically the hardest part. What is remaining here is we can add distribute points on faces here, and as you can see, we have a lot of points here. So this point, I don't like random. We can use console this because this can be easier to manipulate. You can set the distance between the points. You can increase the density of those points, and everything else. So now, if you have a vegetation, you can be able to scatter it. If you had any props, you can be able to scatter it. Let's for example, not distribute. I mean, we add instance on points, and you can add, let's say, cylinders, just as an example here. Cylinders, to add those instances, you can reduce 0.1. See, you can scatter anything there, and these points you can manipulate them however you like. You can add unevenness. If you had like a textures to drive it, you can do that. If you wanted also to add mask, let's say, let's add, for example, a noise texture it here, we can also use that to drive like our density as well. If we look from top view, you will start to see the pattern there. If we increase the noise size, you will start to see how it is affecting the density. So if we look through this, and let's move our, okay, we can move our attribute text, but let's add it quick favorite, so we can easily remove those. Yeah, I think these are not necessarily, we can look on to this at a time, but the point is now we have now we have our points here that you can use to scatter whatever you want to scatter there. And still remember, because this is procedural, we still have we can still manipulate all our parameters, and it will still react to it. As you can see, whatever we change here, we still react to any changes that we make. So one more thing that I want to show you is how you can add path so that you can extrude the what you have scattered from the entrance of the greenhouse or anywhere else that you want to remove some points. So to do that, we are going to add a path there and then remove everything in that path. So to do that, first let's pin our nodes so that they don't disappear. Also, please remember to name them correctly. So we come here and then add a curve path here. So we can go into edit mode. No, we need to take our curve into edit mode and then let's rotate it 90 in the z-axis, and then let's move it here, and then we can start to make our path however we like. Say like that. Let's say we are happy with that. We can then go back into our geometry node, drag our curve there, and before we scatter our instances on this point, we can remove the points that are in a certain distance from this, so that we add geometry proximity. We add a geometry proximity here, and then we add delete geometry here, delete geometry, and then this in the distance we add a less than. We then move it here. So we need first of all to convert this to geometry, to mesh. Curve to mesh here, and then here we need to be looking for edges because we don't have faces online. So if we start to increase the distance here, you can see that we are removing points within certain distance from that path. So yeah, we can use this to create a path that goes into our greenhouse. And the good thing is we can always like duplicate this. If we go into edit mode, take our curve, then say duplicate it on Y and bring it here, we can make another path there as well. Yeah, and this doesn't only have to be a curve. You can add any object and then move it somewhere, use the same technique, and then remove the points there, or even drive with their rotation and everything. Like, you can use it to manipulate the points however you like. However, I wanted to show you how to remove the points in this one. If you want to see another use cases for proximity node, we can do it later. If you want to see that, you can comment down below, then I will make a tutorial on that as well. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and also give it a like if you like it. See you in the next one.